Thousands of cyclists set off on a two-day mountain ride with the goal of raising more than $3 million for Children's Hospital Colorado. One of those riding is a teenager who's been battling cancer over the last 4 years. And as Joel Hillen reports, she's a true example of what the Courage Classic is all about.
Being so young, you kind of have to face the mortality of it, and it's really scary.
17-year-old Martha has been battling cancer since she was 13 years old.
And I relapsed for the second time just about a month ago.
And her latest chemotherapy treatment was just 1 week ago.
You know, she's kicking cancer's butt. It keeps coming back, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to do what it takes. I'm just not going to give up.
Ned Rydell is Martha's dad.
The hardest part is just being there with Martha and realizing there's just some things I can't do for, some things I can't carry her through. It's 100% her, and I just got to hope that she's willing to bring her best, and thus far she has.
The Boulder High School student loves creating things, from pottery and ceramics to printing.
Now she's got 2 3D printers, and she prints stuff and she puts it together, and I'm like, that is cool. Living in the future.
Being able to distract yourself and try to like just do normal things just really helps. Just try and make it your new normal.
One distraction the Rydells share is cycling. Both accomplished the 40-mile bike journey through the mountains to raise money for Children's Hospital Colorado.
Thinking about all the kids who are in the hospital right now and can't be out riding their bike. And also, I just don't like to quit.
I'm just as proud as every other parent is. She's tough. End of story.
In Boulder, Joel Hillen, covering Colorado First.
Vice President Mike Pence made a campaign stop in Colorado yesterday in support of U.S. Senator Cory Gardner and President Donald Trump. His first stop of the day was in Windsor to attend a re-election event for Gardner, who's considered one of the most vulnerable Republican senators up for election next year. The vice president then headed to Aspen, where he was scheduled to speak at a presidential re-election reception. And presidential advisor and first daughter Ivanka Trump spent yesterday morning in Colorado as well. She visited Lockheed Martin's Colorado offices in Jefferson County as part of her focus on apprenticeships. Trump met with graduates from Lockheed Martin's innovative apprenticeship initiatives, and she tweeted that Lockheed Martin and the Colorado space industry are at the forefront of the changing nature of work, and apprenticeships play a big role in those changes.
So many pathways, and you're on one of them, the apprenticeship pathway, which we look forward to hearing more about. But really, it's just such a pleasure to be here and to learn what's happening in Colorado.
Trump also met with Douglas County Sheriff Tony Spurlock during her trip to Colorado. This visit was initially supposed to take place in May, but was scheduled for the day after the STEM school shooting and had to be postponed. It's a tragedy that stunned the community and captured the world's attention, the murder of Shannon Watts and her 2 little girls. And even though Shannon's husband admitted to the killings, there are people out there who believe he's innocent. And those conspiracy theorists are now using social media to relentlessly attack Shannon's family.
I can't possibly describe how painful the last 11 months have been.
How does one cope with the murders of their child and grandchildren?
Just dealing with this type of tragedy is more than a family should bear.
Almost 1 year has passed since Chris Watts murdered his pregnant wife in their Frederick home, later killing his own daughters Bella and Cece as well. Since the murder, Shannon's family, led by Father Frank Rusick, has been under attack.
In the most vicious ways you can't imagine.
Intense cyberbullying by fans of the murderer and trolls around the world.
England, Philippines, Australia. It's not fair to these victims. We don't deserve it.
Frank Rusick wanted to speak with CBS 4 to pressure lawmakers to step up and find a way to limit the attacks trolls make online. His lawyers say calling major social media companies has been useless.
We called Facebook, we called YouTube, we called Twitter.
I shouldn't have to be out here doing this.
The Rusicks say cyberbullies are making them relive their nightmare daily.
We just try to ignore it, but sometimes you just can't ignore it. Please just stop. Get on with your lives. Leave ours alone.
While many choose to bully, Frank said he tries to cherish those who choose love.
Who have supported us and prayed for us and our family. We can't thank you enough. God bless you all.
And also in Weld County, Colorado regulators have warned the state's biggest oil and gas producing county that local officials cannot establish regulations more lenient than the state's, even though the legislature passed a law this year giving local governments additional authority over well locations. The Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission told Weld County officials in a letter on Monday that the commission still regulates the industry. Last month, the Weld County Commissioners established a county oil and gas department to issue permits and regulate drilling in unincorporated areas. Weld County Attorney Bruce Barker told the Denver Post the new law gives the state oversight over technical aspects of drilling, but that other aspects are now left to local governments. Barker says that includes how far wells must be located from buildings. And according to the Associated Press, Vail Resorts plans to take over 17 U.S. ski areas by acquiring Peak Resorts for $264 million. Those ski areas are in Indiana, Missouri, New Hampshire, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Vermont. And the company says the deal is expected to close this fall if regulators and shareholders approve. The newly acquired resorts would be included in Vail's Epic Season Pass. And Vail officials say they plan to spend about $15 million over the next 2 years on improvements at the properties. Vail owns 20 other ski areas in the U.S., Canada, and Australia. And it was an air disaster decades ago that still impacts Denver to this day. United Flight 232 tumbled during a crash landing in South Dakota 30 years ago after taking off from Denver. Well, more than 100 people died, but miraculously 184 people survived. Some of those survivors gathered in Denver Friday night to share memories and to continue to heal.
It's a memorable day, and it's very comforting to be with other survivors.
The blue name tags on Tom and Ellen and others have a special meaning. They are survivors of United Flight 232. It's the first time they've gotten together in Denver in 30 years.
It was a spectacular crash, the DC-10 coming in low and fast from the northeast, crossways of the runway, hitting on the east side, bursting into flames, cartwheeling across the runway into a cornfield. The plane had earlier radioed it was in trouble and emergency personnel were on the scene.
I was in the Sioux City Hospital for 3.5, 4 weeks after the crash.
Paul Olivier was in the back of the plane.
It's always somewhat therapeutic to come out and talk about what happened that day.
Bill Records was the first captain. He was flying when the engine failed. Susan White was just one of the flight attendants that day.
We call it our 232 family. We are very close.
2 other crew members were at tonight's gathering. The crew has stayed close for 30 years, constantly reuniting so they could honor the victims.
We always remember the 112 passengers that didn't make it, and we try to live our life for them and honor them.